Hello, welcome back to Man Cave Hobbies. So today's video is the Shark Bite by Fat Shark in a 75mm whoop. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's so much better than the 65mm whoop as far as the way it flies. Guys, I know you like to jump around in videos. I do the same thing. I got an attention span of a gnat when it comes to watching YouTube videos. I jump all over the damn things. But if you can at least try to pay attention to some of it, it might clean up some of the comment section down below. I want to clear up some questions because I put up a 65mm whoop video and I had a lot of redundant stuff that was already covered in the video. So if you want to watch this video and get a better representation of what the Shark Bite looks like in the goggles, you want to watch it on a smartphone about this far from your face, and make sure that YouTube is set to 1080. It always wants to default to 360 if you get a little bit better of an idea what it looks like in the goggles. However, YouTube still does what YouTube does to our flight videos. It tends to add things, it tends to subtract things, it tends to compress things. And I noticed in my last video, it kind of added like a blurring effect. But I noticed that on some of the Cadec Vista videos as well. And I know that Cadec Vista is a good product, but some of the videos look like they were smearing for some reason, and I don't know what that was about. But I'm thinking it's YouTube doing it. The videos are up, they're uploaded to YouTube on 4K, and you have to do that, even if you have a 1080 video, because if you don't, what happens is YouTube serves it back to the customer or to the watchers at a lower bit rate and a higher compression rate. So you don't have to make a 4K video, and you don't have to upscale your video to 4K. You just have to make your final production 4K and then upload it to YouTube at 4K. I think that's why my videos look better than a lot of the old Byte Frost videos. And if you don't have an editor for that, if you guys get this system, or even if you have the Cadec Vista, there's an excellent free editor out there, DaVinci Resolve 16. It'll boggle your mind what you can do with it. The other thing I don't understand is the tribalism. A lot of the comments I'm getting on the last video is I'm trying to market and you're trying to, it seemed like a DJI against Fat Shark thing. That's not what this is about. There's two different companies vying to deliver us HD FPV, and they're going about it in a different way. That's a benefit to us, the customer. Because when you have competition, or you have sort of a competition of ideas, you end up with more innovation, you end up with cheaper prices, and we win. I guess the bottom line, what I'm trying to say here is if you find yourself having an emotional attachment to a product or a company, and you feel threatened and your feelings hurt because somebody else is trying to compete within that market space, therefore you have to lash out with emotional incontinence in order to make yourself feel better, then perhaps maybe you should find a safe space, a nice warm bottle of soy, and a stuffed unicorn or a coloring book. It's going to be okay. There's a lot of manufacturers that compete for our dollar in this hobby. There's a lot of different frame manufacturers, motor manufacturers, prop manufacturers, FC manufacturers, radio manufacturers, and so on and so forth. So it's okay to have more than one person trying to compete for our money for HD FPV. I don't get paid by Fat Shark. I don't get paid by DiviMath. I don't have commercials. Should be no commercials on this channel at all. If you see them, get AdBlock Plus, get uBlock. There's no affiliated links down below, guys. I'm not trying to push product here. The reason I like this one is because I had a hand in the whoop board, and they actually listened to me. And you guys, that's what a lot of reviewers do. Josh Bardwell, Kebab FPV, Bob does that all the time. And sometimes they listen to us and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they ignore us. Andy RC, the same thing. He's tried to help out manufacturers in the past. All of us have. So let me just give you a little bit of a background here. DJI was started out by Frank Wang, and who used to be on RC groups at one time. All of the DJI big guys were on RC groups at one time. Boy, did he ever have a vision. He stuck with it. He grabbed the brass ring. He hired the right engineers, the right people, the right marketing. And I agree with that as a businessman. And he's made a $6 billion company based off of our hobby. Greg French at Fat Shark was a hobbyist, and he still is a hobbyist. TBS, there's another one, hobbyist. Chris over at Armenton Frames. He actually moved from Canada to Hong Kong to build his frames. So a lot of these guys have started out as hobbyists, and they built themselves a cottage business or a big, large corporation. With DJI, they like to put out their best foot forward. They like to make a very polished product. It is a great product. It truly, honestly is. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's wowed everybody. But it does have its downfalls as well. There is some things that's got its downfalls, like it has a varying latency, which you might not notice, I might not notice, but like even Mr. Steele made a video about talking about that for his kind of flying. Fat Shark doesn't have that. They have a consistent latency. DJI, it doesn't work well with analog. So if you got a guy flying next to you in analog, it was Umagod that actually made a video about that, where Fat Shark is designed for racing. So you can stand next to your buddies who have analog and still fly. It doesn't flood them out. DJI is a little bit bigger on the headset. Some people love that headset and some people say it doesn't fit well. It doesn't fit me personally well. It depends on your face. Everybody's got individual faces, individual eyes, individual ears. We're all individuals, right? Where Fat Shark fits my face better. I've been wearing them for years. Fat Shark's just a little bit smaller of a system. They're starting out with smaller, more compact systems for their VTXs so that you're not having to engineer your quadcopter around their product. I think they're all about racing. That's really their main focus, is to get out there on the race. In fact, there's already been a video up, 8 guys in the air using the Shark Byte system. It's just a different approach. It's not apples and oranges here. It's not oranges and oranges. It's more like oranges and tangerines. But it's good for us, because the more that they come up, the more they innovate, the more they kind of look at one another and say, oh, well, that is a good idea. That's not a good idea. We end up better off as consumers. So if you guys can stop the tribalism, the fanboyism, and all of that would be great. And the emotional incontinence of some people is off the chain. So today's video, like I said, is the 75mm Whoop. I bought this frame. I seen a video. Is Nick Burns, who's a friend of mine. He's got a channel. You go look at it. And it's made by R3D. And that last video I had was a 65mm Whoop. That was an R3D frame. I like them because they're low profile and the camera's protected. And my style of flying in my shop, that's important to me because I like to shoot gaps, and you'll see that in my videos. But I did not have electronics for it. So what I did is I had a Larva X that Banggood sent to me for review, and I reviewed it, and it just sat on the wall ever since. So I took that off there and I put it onto this Whoop. I knew it was going to be heavy. I didn't even expect it to fly. And it turned out to be my favorite Whoop. It turned out to fly better than any of my other Whoops. I'm getting 5-minute flight times out of this thing at 46 grams. The way it handles throttle and stuff, instead of bobbing up and down all the time, it's got really good throttle management. I love it. What I did with this to put the Shark Byte in is I took out the Larva X VTX, which had a built-in DVR. And when I reviewed this, I didn't show you the in-camera FPV view. I showed you the DVR view, just to let you know. So I took that out, took the camera out, and I just put the Shark Byte in. I didn't even bother tuning it. It's still got the same tune as the Larva X. Guys, I want to make sure I'm clear on this. The last video, I kind of confused people a little bit. The first video that you're going to see is the Larva X at 200 milliwatts, the analog at 200 milliwatts. And I'm also using a pretty sizable antenna, and you'll see that at the end of the video. And then the Shark Byte is set at 25 milliwatts. All right, guys, so here's the first flight video. This is the stock VTX, the stock camera, but it's set at 200 milliwatts, and I am using a circular wireless antenna, so it's a very powerful antenna. Because to be honest with you, I can't fly this thing just using regular Omni antennas. I have to have a powerful patch antenna, and like I said in the last video, this shop is all metal. It's surrounded by radio antennas, television antennas, cellular phone antennas, Air Force antennas, all kinds of stuff. So it's really horrible. The noise floor in here is absolutely awful. So I had to kind of cheat a little bit. I try to fly this at 25 milliwatts and just using the same antennas that I would use on the Shark Byte, and there's just no way in hell. There's just no way in hell. But you can see it's, at 200 milliwatts, it's a little bit cleaner. I mean, it's a lot better than my last video with the Mobula 6. And you can see the antenna. I kind of turned my head there so you can see the antenna. So here is the Shark Byte. And once again, hopefully you're watching this on a cell phone, kind of close to your face, running YouTube at 1080. Now, I put the whole video up here. It's a 5-minute video of me flying around here. So I'm not gonna talk throughout the whole thing, but you can clearly see the clarity difference. This is at 25 milliwatts, and I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, it's 25 milliwatts and it still looks great. I'm not gonna set it to 300 milliwatts. I was gonna do that. I should have done that actually. I should have set it to 300 milliwatts because then there would be no breakup at all. But this is 25 milliwatts, guys. This is what it looks like for 25 milliwatts for all you racers out there. Then the cool thing too about having it at 25 milliwatts is that's probably why I'm getting 5-minute flight times. So anyway, I'm going to put music to this. You guys enjoy the music. If you want to continue watching this, it's basically just 5 minutes of this. right, guys, that concludes the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. If you have any questions about this stuff, and if I can't answer it, I'm going to at least try to get you answers. Just leave a comment down below. The next video will be a twig, so I'll be flying it probably tomorrow or Sunday. I'll have the video up probably Monday or Tuesday of me flying outside with a twig, a 2.5. So please join me then. Thank you very much and have a great evening.